Well, hi there, everyone, and welcome to HAC's Jumpstart Your Success webinar. My name's Emily Fox. I serve as one of our virtual navigators on our Student Learning Systems support team here at HAC. So the purpose of this event, this Jumpstart Your Success event, is to provide you with information that you need to be successful in the online environment. So if you're looking for more general HAC information, a good place to check out is our new student orientation home base guide, which we'll put in the chat, or you can attend new student orientation if you have not already. So what can you expect during this session? Well, first, I'll be reviewing some slides. It covers some details related to online learning and your course. And then we'll explore some resources and our learning management system called Brightspace by D2L. And you'll get the chance to hear from the perspectives of a student and a faculty member. And of course, we'll wrap up with any questions that you may have. Our goal is for you to start out the semester knowing what to expect, feeling confident, and we want you to be successful this semester. So let's get started. So COVID-19, as you all know, has really changed the world that we live in, and education is no different. And if you would like to stay up to date with all the COVID-related updates at HAC, check out hac.edu/coronavirus. But as a result, HAC now has many different course options that you can choose from. And the course options, they're summarized here on this slide. And there's more details. You can actually watch videos that explain each of these in depth if you go to hac.edu/fall 2021 options. But I'll briefly review some of the different learning options that you have for this upcoming semester. So of course, we now have on campus, and that would be on any of our physical campus locations. So that's Gettysburg, Harrisburg, Lancaster, Lebanon, or York. We have fully remote learning, and that is very much like this session right now, where we're meeting up through Zoom at a specific time. We also have some mixtures where you may have some on-campus portion to your course as well as remote through Zoom. Then we also have virtual learning. So that is asynchronous type of learning, meaning that there's not a particular time that you need to be logging in. A lot of the coursework is done at the time that works best for you. And you still do need to be meeting deadlines and due dates with virtual learning. And then we have a combination of on-campus and virtual learning classes, remote and virtual learning classes, and then new, so keep your ears open for more information about this, HyFlex, which is when students have the option whether they want to attend a course on campus or online through Zoom at scheduled times. So we'll review how you can pull your schedule later on so you know exactly what type of course that you're registered for and what to expect. But a lot of our presentation today will focus on the online environment, which a lot of it can be applied, of course, to campus-based or other learning ways too. So learning in the online environment, all courses at HAC, even if it's on campus or online, all courses at HAC are uniquely created by our instructors. And that's something that we pride ourselves in at HAC, because each course is unique. It's not cookie cutter. So at HAC, even though the courses are all unique, they'll have course outcomes and objectives that need to be followed, but the courses can look different from course to course, even the same course that's taught by a different instructor. So that can include the course navigation, the expectations, how you're taught the information, how you're tested on the information, graded on the information. It can look very different from class to class. Some instructors will have the course set up so that you can work ahead. Some instructors, maybe they release some of the content or assignments week by week, so that can vary as well. So with all of those different options that you may see in your courses, my advice to you is to give yourself some grace, give yourself some time to adjust to the course and really become comfortable with the navigation and the expectations for that particular course. Another recommendation for you is every course has a syllabus to follow, and that highlights key information that you need to know for that course for that semester. So if you're to only print one thing all semester long, I recommend that you print your syllabus, and your syllabus will be in your course on the first day of courses when you can access that. Usually a prominent place that you can access it, and can vary from class to class. And if you don't have access to a printer, you can reach out to our bookstore and they will print and mail you an item. So you can certainly do that with your syllabus as well. So before I bring up the next slide, I have a poll that I would love for all of you to participate in. So I'm going to launch a poll. We'd love to hear how many classes you're taking this fall. So go ahead and put your answer in. Are you taking 1 class, 2 class, 3 classes, 4 classes, or maybe even 5 or more? I'll give you a few seconds to put your answers in. I'm seeing them trickle in, and I'll share the results with you as soon as I see things slow down a little bit here. Great. All right. Well, I'm going to end the poll and share it. So it looks like we have a variety here. Some of you are taking 1 or 2 or 3 classes. It looks like 4 classes is common, and some of you are even taking 5 or more. So that's excellent. Thank you for participating in that. And the reason I ask that is because a common question that we get from students is, well, how much time do I actually have to set aside to work on this class to be successful? And just as a general rule for virtual learning classes, you should expect to set aside about 135 hours for each 3-credit course. And for remote learning, plan to set aside about 2 hours of outside the class learning for every hour in class. So to put that into a more concrete example for you, for a full fall semester, that's approximately 10 hours per week for a 3-credit virtual learning course. And there's other factors, of course, that can impact it too. If you're part of a shorter term, maybe you're part of a 7-week class, then of course, putting more work in each week would be required. Or if it's a subject that comes harder to you, then you may need to put in some more work. So we're not expecting you to sit down and put a stopwatch on and hit the amount of time that is recommended. It's more just to remind you that you will need to set aside time to be successful. And that's our recommendation to you. So in working with online students over the years, what I've found students to possess that they are most successful in the online environment are the individuals that are self-disciplined, they're organized, they plan ahead, which is, preparing for the unexpected or having a backup plan in place. And related to that, if you're reaching out to your instructor, I recommend that you do it sooner rather than later, not waiting until 5 minutes before the assignment is due. Our instructors, they have a leeway of responding within 24 to 48 hours. And many of our instructors, they respond back much sooner than that. But you don't want to be waiting until the last minute to reach out if you do have questions. And many of our instructors, all of them are available to connect with you. And the way that they're able to connect with you may vary depending on which type of course you're taking. But they have office hours, phone, email. A lot of our instructors will have a discussion board, which is dedicated just for questions, because chances are if you have a question, other individuals in your class have that same question. So those are some of the ways that you may be able to communicate with your instructor. Now, in interacting with instructors, I know that it's very helpful to them if when you're reaching out with your Hawkmail address, the at hawkmail.hack.edu address, if you include your name and the course, the CRN, the course reference number, because a lot of our instructors are teaching many different courses or sections of the courses, and it can help them help you quicker if you're able to identify yourself in which course you are in. So really, bottom line, keep open communication with your instructor. They're people too. They understand that life happens, but ideally, if you can be communicating very openly with them or in advance, that can be of benefit to you. When I was teaching a course, I had a student that reached out to me at the beginning of the semester because she was going on a cruise for a week and was not going to have internet access. And I had no problem working with her to accommodate her, make sure she could get the work done either in advance or to make it up. And that's how I recommend doing it. If she had gone on the cruise and not been responsive for a week or so, and then asked to make it up, I don't know if I would have been quite as accommodating. So the earlier communication you can do, the better. But of course, emergencies happen too. Another common question that we get is, okay, I'm registered for classes, but now what do I actually do? I'm registered, but where do I go? What do I do? And the answer is to go to our learning management system, which is called Brightspace by Desire to Learn. And you may hear it referred to as Brightspace or Desire to Learn or D2L. That's all the same thing. It's our learning management system, and you access it through your MyHack account at my.hack.edu. Once you go in there, and I'll show you this later on in this presentation here, you'll select an orange D2L Brightspace button. And again, you'll see what that looks like here in just a little bit. If you are part of a remote learning course that meets through Zoom at certain times, you'll receive the information that you need from your instructor. And typically that's done through email or D2L. So if you're to log into D2L right now, you will likely see your courses listed, but the official open, they will officially open on the first day of classes by 8 a.m. Some of our instructors actually open up their course early, so you can certainly go in there and see if you're one of the individuals that is part of a class that opens up early and just become comfortable with the navigation of that particular course. But definitely by 8 a.m. on the first day of class. So for many of you, that is this coming Monday on August 30th, but maybe you're part of a late start class, for instance, that starts on September 13th. If you're part of a late start course, then by 8 a.m. on September 13th, you'll be able to access and go into your course. As a best practice, we do recommend that you log into your course within 24 to 48 hours of the start date. And this is just so you can become comfortable with the course layout, expectations, and it shows your instructor that you're engaged as well. Recommended internet browsers. So when you're using D2L, we recommend Mozilla, Safari, or Google Chrome. And Internet Explorer cannot be used for Brightspace by D2L coursework. So we just want you to be aware of that. They do not support one another. Many of our students also like to utilize their phone for coursework. So if you're interested in doing that, you can download the mobile app, Brightspace Pulse app, and easily do some of your coursework from your phone on the go. And of course, for online learning, having a reliable technological device and internet access is key to your success. So for students that may need a laptop or access to internet, we have a limited number of devices and hotspots for eligible students to pick up on campus, and then they return it to when they're finished with it. And you can find out information about that through our technology and internet access loan program, which we'll post the link into the chat, and it's here on the slide as well. Related to that and new as of this summer is a temporary federal program called the Emergency Broadband Benefit Program. And with this program, students can receive up to $50 per month discount for broadband service and a one-time discount of up to $100 for an approved technological device. So to learn more about that particular program, you can go to getemergencybroadband.org. So another thing to keep in mind that some of our courses at Hack, I see it commonly with math courses or language like Spanish courses, is that you may use additional or different third-party software. And you should still plan to go into D2L, and D2L will provide the information about where to go from there. So for instance, math classes, many of our math classes utilize Pearson My Math Lab. So if you log into D2L with your math class, then your instructor will provide information about how to get to Pearson My Math Lab. So just keep your, that may apply to you as well. There are some courses too that may require proctored testing, whether that's in-person proctored testing or remote proctored testing. You should be aware of that when you register for your class. It does indicate that proctored testing will be involved with that course. So if that also applies to you, you'll get some more information from your instructor about what that looks like, what's involved with the proctored testing, or if you need any specific technological requirements for the course. Textbooks. So since courses are starting very soon, in just a few days here, you want to make sure that you purchase a textbook if it is required for your course. And the bookstore webpage is the best place to go, bookstore.hack.edu. And you can click to view textbook information. We have a video that shows you how to find your textbook. If you go to our Jumpstart webpage, hack.edu/jumpstart, you can find a step-by-step video and guide that shows you how to get your textbook. But if you are to get the books shipped to you, it is $4.95 shipping fee for each order, or you can order it online and pick it up at a campus location for free, of course. Just keep in mind, if you are planning to pick up your books on the Lebanon campus, our Lebanon campus does not have a bookstore, and students can pick up their books at the Learning Commons desk on the 3rd floor. So we encourage you to go through our bookstore to get your textbooks. There's lots of different options typically that you can get: new books, used books, rented books, digital books, and just even if you do purchase through another service, we still would like if you go to the bookstore, find out which books you need, and then jot down the ISBN of that particular book. That way you make sure you're getting the right title, the right edition, everything that the instructor is asking. So go to the bookstore for information related to textbooks. Now, Hack understands that textbooks, that's an added expense, and we are trying to cut costs down for students when it comes to textbooks. So many different textbook initiatives have been established as a result of that. One of those initiatives is Open Educational Resources, OERs, and they are public resources which are available for free use and repurposing for others. And more instructors, they're relying on this for their courses to eliminate the textbook costs for students. So you may see that in your course. Also, some of our courses have what's called inclusive access, which is digital access to course material, and it's with a lower cost, and students pay for it as a course registration fee. So you may have seen that as well. Another initiative is the Cengage Unlimited subscription program. And this provides students with a subscription-based plan. I like to compare it to Netflix, where students can pay for unlimited digital access to all Cengage publisher materials. So it's $119.99 for the semester or $179.99 for the year. And when I was teaching a course, I had a Cengage textbook, and the textbook itself was more expensive than the subscription. So if you happen to even have one Cengage book that you need for any of your courses, this may be a program that's worthwhile to look into for you. And ebooks, so a lot of our students like electronic books, and our bookstore works with RedShelf and Jump Books to provide that. A lot of times our instructors, they don't care whether you're reading the textbook material electronically or a hard copy. That's mostly personal preference, but you can get more information at our bookstore or reach out to your instructor if you need any additional information about these initiatives or what supplies you would need to be successful in their course. So what we're going to do next, I'm going to show you a sample course, and the sample course that I'll go in to show you is called the Brightspace by D2L Tour for Students. You should all be enrolled in this course. It's not a graded course, it's more of a resource course. And when you go through the course, you'll learn how to use the tools and navigate within D2L. And what I like the most about the course is that you get the chance to practice it. So you can actually take a quiz, and if you get a 0 in the quiz, it doesn't impact your grade. It's just a practice environment. So you can take a quiz, you can post on a discussion board, you can submit a document into a Dropbox, and a lot of these things I'll review later on, but it's a no pressure environment where you can go. That Brightspace by D2L tour for students course. Some of our instructors actually require students to complete it before they begin their course. So it may be something that you want to complete this week. It takes about 30 minutes for our students to complete it. You'll have plenty of other things that you'll want to be getting done once the semester is underway. And so when you sign in, every course is different. We'll hear from one of our faculty members later on, so you get to actually see a live course. But if you'd like to see a variety of different courses, some of our instructors have put together a video where you can see it, how to navigate their course. So you can see some of the differences from one instructor to the next. And you can see those courses if you go to hack.edu/online course tours. The other thing that I recommend right when you sign into your course, a lot of our instructors, they have a message that tells you what to do. So start here, and then it tells you what to do. You may want to look for that in your course too, because I know a lot of our instructors use that. So this little picture here on this slide is a basic navigation that some of our instructors use, where you see the course home, the content, discussions, Dropbox, quizzes, grades, emails, and then some resources. So some of our instructors use this exact navigation bar, but you'll see lots of differences too, in that maybe your instructor has customized the layout for it. So I'm going to go into MyHack right now and show you a sample course. And along the way, I'm going to show you some resources. There are so many resources for you to be aware of as a student at Hack. So I encourage you to go into MyHack, my.hack.edu, and just look around and click on things, and you'll learn about even more resources. We have some great resources as well. If you go to hack.edu/student or hack.edu/jumpstart, and you can get some more information there. But here we are in MyHack, and as I was telling you about that bright orange tab, Brightspace D2L, that is where you will click to get into the learning management system. So I'll go into that in just a little bit here, but I wanted to point out some other resources along the way. Hawkmail, that's your student email, so make sure you're checking that now, even though the semester has not started. A lot of times our instructors, they'll reach out to you before the semester, maybe financial aid's trying to get a hold of you. So it's best practice that you're checking that now, and check that regularly while you are in the semester as well. Also here in MyHack, we have links that takes you straight to the library resources. And there's a Ask a Librarian chat feature. You can make a research appointment. There are plenty of online electronic books and journals and videos. That's a great link to be aware of. Also Zoom. We're using Zoom right now for this session. If you're part of a remote course, you'll utilize Zoom for your course. Some of our instructors, they have office hours offered through Zoom, but each student at Hack also has a free Zoom account that you can go in to a room, a video conferencing room like this, and meet with a study group, or maybe you're working on a group project. That can be a great thing to keep in mind to connect with others. And Navigate is another link that I want to point out to you. That's a great place where you can make appointments with your advisor or career services or a variety of other Hack staff here. Also within Navigate, there are resources highlighted in there, reminders of important things to do, and you can download the Navigate app as well. A lot of our students like to utilize the app for that. The other thing that I want to point out here is on the right-hand side at the bottom, under the Student Success Resources, the helpful links, Microsoft Office 365 instructions. If you click on that, Every student at HAC has access to a free year of Microsoft Office 365, and then you just renew it every year that you are a student. So it continues to be free for you while you are a current HAC student. Also down in this area here is our technology and internet access loan program, which I was talking about earlier. If you need a device or internet access, this is a good place to check out, see if you're able to utilize that. And the Jumpstart session that we're holding right now, some of the resources that we have are listed right here at this under virtual learning, Jumpstart Your Success. So just wanted to point out some of those resources. As you can see, there are many other ones here too, but those are some highlights. So let's go into the learning management system, Brightspace D2L. So if you click on that, this is what the online learning management system looks like. And there are resources along the right-hand side here too. So keep an eye on that. There's information about the Learning Commons and resources you can click on related to Brightspace and Zoom. So if you're looking for your course, you can find your course here on the home page, or you can find it in this little drop-down menu right here. And a lot of our students like to pin a course, which means that when you pin it, it goes to the top. And all you need to do is click this little pin icon. And then the next time you log in, it will be at the top of the list. And then if you don't want it pinned anymore, then you just simply click this pin. It may not be overly important to you right now if you're a new student at HAC and you only have 1 or 2 courses listed in there. But as you semester after semester, and if your courses are still in there, you want your most current courses at the top, so you can click on them and do your coursework. There are 2 resource courses that you all should be enrolled in. One is a Student Resource Center and Lounge. And in there, we post events. There's a discussion board that you can post questions and other information to check out. So that's a good course to check out this week before your classes start. And of course, you can be using it while you are a student too. The other one is that I was talking about, the Brightspace D2L Tour for Students course. I'm going to go into that just so you can see a little bit about some of the tools related to Brightspace and the navigation that you may see in your particular course. So one of the things that I'll point out, because it's very common in our online courses, is the use of discussion posts. So I'm going to go to a discussion post here. This is a main way of having interaction with your class, especially if you're taking a virtual learning class, to utilize discussions. So I'm going to go here into this practice discussion, and you all can go into this as well and practice on your own this week. But I recommend, if you're participating in a discussion board thread, that you type your discussion post or response in a Word document or a Google Doc, somewhere else where you can save it, and then just copy and paste it here into the discussion area. So I'm just going to start a new thread. All you really need to do is enter in a title here. So I'm just going to do test. You would enter in your content, and you can insert links or images or embed videos. And then I often subscribe to the thread, because that way, if somebody responds to your post, you'll get a little notification at the top of D2L. So that way you can go back and respond to them if it needs a response. And then you can post. Oh, I guess I had an error with it. I guess I need to put something in here. So with discussions, one thing to keep in mind are the expectations of your instructor. A lot of times our instructors will ask students to post their original post by Thursday and then respond to 2 or 3 classmates by Sunday. That's just an example, but I'm telling you that so that you're mindful of what your instructor is asking. That way you're not docked points for not posting at the appropriate time. So another common thing that you may see within your class is our quizzes. So I'm going to go to a quiz here. And one of the most important things that you want to check out with your quizzes is how your instructor has it set up. So is it timed? Do you have multiple attempts? What information is it covering? A lot of times they'll list that, and any other pertinent information. Sometimes you'll receive the answers right after you take your quiz. Sometimes it takes a week and they'll release them. And I know some of our instructors, they don't actually give the correct answers. It's up to you to go back and, find out what the correct answer was. So you'll see lots of different variations with that as well. And of course, different ways that questions can be asked, with true or false, with multiple choice, lots of different examples there. So I'm just going to go back here if I can. Yep. And the other thing that I'll point out, you'll also see as a common thing in a course, is a Dropbox. So Dropbox, I like to think of if you're in a physical classroom environment and the instructor says, hey, on the way out the door, put your essays on the desk. And that's how they collect them and then grade them. That's exactly what Dropbox is. It's collecting the PDF or Word document or however they're asking you to submit it. And you submit it in there, and you are emailed when it receives your Dropbox assignment. So that's peace of mind, so you know that it went through. So I encourage you to go into this Brightspace D2L tour for students so you can try out some of these things for yourself. And then we'll also hear from one of our instructors later on too, so you'll get to see a live course as well. So at this point in the program, I am going to pass it over to Daniel Ford, and he'll be moderating our student and faculty discussions.
Thanks, Emily. So I'm just going to share my screen here. So we've got the slides back up. And we're going to start off with our students. So I'm going to ask Jeanette if she could unmute herself and introduce herself to everyone.
Hello, my name is Jeanette Wingert. Along with being a student at HAC, I am also a staff at HAC. So I kind of have a double side to everything. But my name is Jeanette, and I'll be happy to answer these questions for you.
Great, thanks, Jeanette. So the first thing that we would like to ask you today is, what characteristics or behaviours should a student possess to be successful in the online environment?
I think one of the biggest things, especially coming in with remote learning, with being virtual, and with some classes now being back in person, you just have to really manage your time. I am one of the biggest procrastinators, so I have to make sure that my schedule is lined out, that I know what's happening when, because if I don't, I wait till the last minute and then I have 3 or 4 projects to do at the same time. So in an online environment, it's very easy to lull yourself into a false sense of security that you're like, oh, I can get that done later. If you have 4 or 5 things that you have to get done later, you do need to make sure you may not get them all done. So you need to make sure that you plan that out and you get that them all submitted on time. So time management, and keep your schedule.
Great, thanks, Jeanette. So the second question we have is, what helps you successfully juggle coursework with daily life responsibilities?
Working full-time and also taking classes part-time, I have to make sure that everything, again, is lined out. So having a calendar that I know when my classes are, having a calendar when I know my work meetings are, having all that information handy helps me be able to balance that a little bit. It can seem to be a little overwhelming if you're working and you're going to school and you have to drive to campus and you have to drive to your work to be there at the right time. So just making sure that you plan out your days and that you give yourself enough time so that you don't add that stress to your life.
Thank you. We have one more question for you. And it's, what 3 resources do you encourage other students to use?
I think utilizing your calendar is really big. So whatever calendar you have, I know a lot of people have a smartphone. So putting your information on your smartphone, linking your Hawkmail to your smartphone. It's a Gmail account, so you can forward that Hawkmail to your Gmail, or you can download that on your smartphone. but keeping up with that email, keeping up with your calendar is one thing. Emily touched on a lot of these things. The Learning Commons. In the Learning Commons is the library. You can look at testing. There's tutoring. They have tech support in there. So the Learning Commons is very big. And then the Navigate application. This app can connect you with career services. It connects you with your advisor. It can connect you with student involvement. So having that at hand, you can look at to-dos that are coming up, such as when your financial aid is due, or information about the bookstore, how you can find out more information about that. So it has those resources. It also has events. Because we're in a remote environment, a lot of events are remote, and you can look at those events on your Navigate app, and you can find the Zoom link or where you can go to get more information about those events. So Navigate can do that, and you can schedule an appointment through Navigate app. So you can look at what your advisor has available, or look at what your career services, what the career services staff has available, and you can schedule an appointment with them to see them. So those are the ones I would do.
Great, thanks so much, Jeanette. We're going to move on to our faculty member, and we do have Professor Noack with us, so I will ask her to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Christine Noack. I'm the chair of the English department, and this term I am teaching English 101.
Great, thank you. So our first question is, what is one thing that you wish students knew before taking classes in the online environment?
One thing I would like to underscore is what Jeanette already mentioned, is the idea of ensuring that you remain on a schedule to avoid procrastination. I encourage you to block out some time for completing your online work. It's very easy for life to get in the way when you don't have to go to a physical place for your classes. So make sure you carve out that time and plan for life happening. Assume that something could prevent you from submitting an assignment or submitting a paper if you're planning to submit right at the last minute. Assume you're going to have a technical problem. Assume that the internet is going to go down, and give yourself some leeway in planning your schedule.
Great, thank you. Second question we have is, what is a common mistake that is made by students, and how could it be avoided?
I think one common mistake is assuming that college is just like high school. So whether you've been out of high school for 20 years or 2 months, students often have only the K-12 environment as a comparison for educational experiences. Back in the K-12 days, whenever that was for you, 2 months ago or 20 years ago, you were provided with everything you needed in the context of your class. So your teacher basically gave you everything that you needed, and everything that you needed to learn was right there in the class. Here in college, very often you will be required to do reading that maybe you never discuss on a discussion board, or if you're in a class that leverages Zoom, maybe you never have a class discussion about that actual reading, but you're still held accountable for that work. So whatever you're assigned to do, you want to make sure you do it, and don't assume that just because your professor doesn't go over something that it's not valuable, important, or that it won't show up later on an exam. So I encourage students to take an entrepreneurial approach to your education, and to ensure that you are doing all of the work that is assigned to you, whether it appears on the surface to be valuable to you in that moment or not.
Great, thank you. So the next thing we're going to ask is, I'm going to ask you to show one of your courses. So I'm going to hand over the screen sharing to you, and then allow you to show us around.
Great. Well, this is a shot of my actual course. You're looking at it as a student would. Now, bear in mind that each course is designed a little differently, but you'll see some common things. You'll see options either in icon form or just language to go to course home and content, etc. You will see the calendar feature. You will see the email that Emily mentioned earlier, where you can email from within the course. And you'll see in my course here, I have my courses set to open a week early for students who might be like me, a little more high strung about what's coming, and you want to see what's ahead of you. So I open up my course early. Students have had access to it since yesterday. You'll see contact information on the first page for all instructors generally. If you are taking a virtual class that requires no synchronous contact, that means there's no scheduled time, you should still see a link for office hours. We hold those office hours via Zoom. And remember that office hours are a time for you to drop in to talk with your professor or get extra help, that we hold those office hours specifically for you. I like to call them student hours so that it's clear to you that you going to the office is a bad thing when you're in K-12, right? But here in college, it's a good thing. Nobody succeeds alone. It takes a team, and we here at HACC, your faculty, we are part of your team. So you'll see sometimes your faculty will use announcements and news on the front page. Every class should have a Start Here folder. And in that Start Here folder, that's where you'll find some critical elements for your success, such as your course syllabus, and course policies, information about your instructor. I leverage the checklist format throughout my entire course because I find that that is the easiest way to access materials in my course, but you might see some different things in your own courses. My recommendation for you as a student is to get a sense of how the course is laid out. What is the logic of the course? For my own course, it's laid out in checklist format, and I've asked students to go through by due date, right? So I've got a set of work for each of these due dates: Thursday the 9th, Sunday the 12th. My due dates are set up Thursday and Sunday. Some instructors set the due dates up weekly. And the reason I mention the logic of the course is that if you jump in here and just go right to discussions, for example, while it's helpful for you to see where those discussions are, it may not be helpful for you to jump right in and start engaging in those discussions. In my example, in my course, these discussions are part of a larger body of learning, and they are attached to different due dates in the class. So think about how the course is structured and packaged, and try to work through the course in the way that it's designed, because that's how you'll get the most out of your learning. Generally, your instructor contact information will be available to you, as I said, on the front page if you have questions, if you need to reach out. And many instructors use a discussion board that includes a question board, right? So you could post your questions to the discussion board, which I encourage you to do. As I mentioned, all courses are laid out a little bit differently. And so please give yourself time to learn not just the content of your course, but remember, you're also learning about the technology of the course, of Brightspace D2L, of HACC in general. Higher education is a very complicated bureaucracy, and there's a lot for you to learn. So give yourself some time, give yourself some space, give yourself some grace, because it is a learning curve for you to get up to speed on all of those things. So the more you can build that time into your process of scaling up your learning, the better time you will have here at HACC. So give yourself some time, space, and grace.
Great, thank you, Christine. We're going to move on to a very final piece, which is to open the floor up for any questions. So I'm going to turn on the chat for everyone, and I think Jeanette, you are going to be a chat moderator and letting us know what questions come in.
Great. And so if we don't have any other questions, then I just want to say thank you to Professor Noack. Thank you to all the individuals from our Student Learning Systems support team. And thank you to you as the attendee for setting aside some time to see how you can start the semester out right, to be successful, and know that you are not alone, that you have plenty of support and resources along the way while you are a HACC student and beyond. So thanks again for taking the time to attend the Jumpstart Your Success webinar, and best of luck this upcoming semester. Hope you have a great evening.